good to get back at home. I feel like we've been away for a while. So it'll be good to be back in front of the fans here at Soldier Field. We're excited about the opportunity. This will be a good challenge for us. Um, you watch this football team, obviously, the loss of Scadaboo, I think, is a significant injury for them, and yet I think they do a pretty solid job of running the football. They're a team that really does a good job of maintaining possession, creating drives, um, and the quarterback I think's a good young quarterback. I mean, I think he's doing some really good things. Um, I think he sees the field well. I think he does a good job of being able to get the ball out of his hands at times, and then yet when he doesn't like what he sees, he's able to create with his feet. So I think that'll be a big challenge for us in terms of his ability to run with the football, and whether it be scrambles or design quarterback runs. So it'll be a good challenge.
How important is it to keep Jackson in the pocket? It feels like his best games have come where maybe he doesn't have a ton of passing yards, but he's been able to create with 50-plus yards rushing.
Yeah. No, I think that's a big part of anytime you face a guy that's got some mobility. I think it's a huge issue defensively in terms of how you defend the offense. Because you can be in really good pass coverage, and yet if your rush lanes get out of whack, and now all of a sudden he's running for first downs. I mean, the job of the offense is stay on the field, maintain drives and score points, and his feet give them the ability to do that a lot. So that's a big part of what we're going to have to face.
What did you like from what you saw from Booker when he came back this week, and what do you think he can do with an expanded role?
Well, look, I'm hopeful that he's going to build off of that performance last week. I do think he gives us a little bit more in terms of the pass rush. He had a really nice rush on the sack fumble, and so for first game out, after being out for a long time, I think that gives us a foundation to build from.
You guys talked earlier this year about Sweat just needing to win the one-on-ones when he's got him. He's put together a pretty good model here. What changed, or what is he doing better?
Listen, I mean, he was doing some good things before, and yet, he wasn't getting all the, as many of the stats. And now you start to see that happen just a little bit more. I think he's been performing really well for us all around, run game, passing game. So it's good to see him get the stats to go along with that. A lot of times there's some hidden production, but it's been nice to see. I think he's winning a little bit more, and I think this. Look, he's starting to get a feel for and accustomed to how we're going to play, some of the things that we're asking him to do, how we want to play against the run, how we want to be able to rush the passer, and I still think there's a lot of meat left on the bone in terms of what we can get out of that. So, halfway through the season, starting to see some of that production accelerate just a little bit, and hopeful that that growth will continue.
How did you think?
How did you
think? Go ahead.
You lose Dio Odengbo, but they bring in Joe. Like, how do you kind of make that adjustment?
Well, look, I mean, anytime you lose a guy, there's an adjustment that has to happen, and we just got Joe in yesterday. He worked yesterday. He'll be out there again today. I like some of the things that I see from him. I had an opportunity to go against him a lot, in the NFC South, and so I'm pretty familiar with the player. I think he's smart. I think he's got good athleticism, good length, and I think he's a guy that he's played a lot of football. He's played championship football. He's been a part of that type stuff there in Tampa. So we're excited about the addition, and we'll see what that role is as we go forward. But I'm glad we got him.
How did you think that Gardner Johnson played for trying to pick things up on the fly?
Yeah, I was pleased with the way that he played. There's some things that we can work on to still try to improve, but it was good to see. There was a lot of recall in terms of when he was with me previously in New Orleans. He had pretty good recall in terms of what we're asking him to do. This guy's a football player. He's got good instincts. He's tough. He can fit in the box. He can play out. In coverage, and so I think that's a good pickup for him.
With having some recall and familiarity with your system, is he still kind of a work in progress trying to adapt to what you guys are doing right now?
Yeah, I mean, he's been here for 10 days now or something like that. So, yeah, there's still a lot of growth to happen, and yet I do think that growth gets accelerated because he's been in the system before. And even though there may be a few new things and things that terminology might be a little bit different, or how we're playing things may be a little bit different, it's still not too far off from what he was doing before, with us. But I do think, look, it's been a while since he's played in that spot, and been in this system. And so for his recall, but I think that just goes to show you, like, he's a football guy. He understands football. And so he's a guy that you can kind of, give him the parameters of what you're looking for, and he can figure out how to make that work. And that's good to see.
Ryan Cole said yesterday, he was crediting Montez's stamina, like that it's gotten a lot better in games. And I know his snap counts have gone up pretty steadily since week 4. What do you attribute that to?
I think just coming out here every day and working. That's how you get that way. That's how you build that. I think, also I think, when you start to feel that success and you feel some of those results, like there's kind of a hunger to get back out there and produce again. And so I think it's a combination of just him coming out here and working every single day. He's gotten a lot better. And I think he's starting to see the results of that, and I think he's feeding off of that a little bit.
The message has been clear from Ben Johnson that a win is a win, don't apologize for wins. But what was it like in that? It's a shootout. They scored a bunch of points, talking about the Bengals at the end. What was that like for you, and what needs to get better to avoid?
Yeah, look, I think the biggest thing, over the last couple of weeks, I think we got to finish games better. When you really look at that game, there's 2 minutes and 15 seconds to go in the game, and we'd held them to 20 offensive points. So there's a lot of good things that happened, and yet there's a lot of things that we needed to fix. So we won't ever apologize for winning. We won that one. We're moving on to the next one. Here we go, New York Giants. Hopefully we'll fix some of the things that needed to be fixed.
When you've lost defensive ends in consecutive weeks, and you get someone who you know from film, but you don't really know too much yet. What's the balance you have as a play caller of, do I rush 4, or do I need to worry about bringing an extra guy just because I don't know what I'm going to get?
Yeah. Well, look, we got a few days to evaluate it,
Sure.
as we go through practice and stuff like that. And look, you have to go through those things in game. How do you adjust when you have an injury in game? How do you adjust to that? So, we'll have a plan going in. We'll see how it goes, and then if we need to make some adjustments in game, we'll make some adjustments in game.
I guess you lost 3 defensive ends in the last 2 games, right?
Yeah, I'm losing count.
Joe said that from his Tampa experience, he learned that he needed to work on consistency. What are the challenges with achieving consistency at his position?
Yeah, look, challenges. Well, it's really just coming to work every single day and working on the things that you need to work on. And that's kind of how we approach everything. And I think when guys come into work every day and they attack the day, they don't just show up and go through the day. They attack the day, and they have things that they want to improve on and things that they got to get better at. And then we work on those things consistently. We have early meetings to go over those things. Then we get out on the field, we work on them, we practice them. And I think, throughout the course of the season, we've seen guys that have improved. And it's, there's really no secret. It's just you got to come to work every day and have an intent on what you're trying to get accomplished. And if you do those things, and you have talent and you have intelligence, you're going to get better. And it's kind of simple, really.
Seems like there's not a natural ability with Austin as far as being a pass rusher. What does he need to add to his game to become a total player as far as being a defensive end?
Well, look, he's in his second year, right? So he's still a young player. And so yeah, he's not the biggest guy that we have out there. You know, so strength and power can be an issue at times. You know, so we're working on trying to improve in those areas. But I think the biggest thing, just like with all these guys, let's just come to work every day, and let's work on the things we have to work on, and let's try to improve. And I think our guys are attacking that. I think our guys come in with an intent every single day. And certainly it's not always perfect on Sundays. That's why we come back in, we make the corrections. That's why we have practice, so we can go out and work to improve on those things. And our guys are doing a good job of working on that. All right, thanks, guys.
Colston obviously had a breakout game, player of the week. What have you seen from him in terms of his development, like the last several weeks?
I think it's just been consistent, really, since he's gotten here. Obviously, we didn't get to spend a ton of time with him in the off season, but when he's been out there, he is a consummate professional. I really enjoy being around him. He has really grasped the offense, and I think he just continues to get better. I think Jim's done a great job with him just since he's been here. And I know you guys have asked about him really every week. Kind of when is he going to break out? And I think that's one of those things that it's a guy doing a lot of work, kind of behind the scenes. And when his number is called, he's ready for the moment, and he certainly was.
It's a lot of like situational, obviously those end of game drives for Caleb Williams, but the things that he does well, particularly well in those situations, how can you guys coach that to be more consistent throughout all 60 minutes?
Yeah, really, we would love to see that all the time in the game. But I think what makes him kind of special is in those moments where it kind of speeds up for everyone else, it doesn't really speed up for him. In some ways, it slows down. And so he has great poise in those moments. He has great leadership in those moments. Our guys feel really comfortable with him in those moments, and you're trying to extract that. And really, every single down, that really is his comfortability in the offense, the operation, what we're doing, and that just continues to grow and progress.
Declan, there was a delay of game at the 1 yard line the other day. What happened in that sequence?
We ended up a little bit late with the call, late out of the huddle, and then in a situation like that, we ended up just not being able to get the snap off. And so we backed it up, and then on the next play, we were fortunate to be able to go score and execute.
What's the challenge there, obviously, of rescuing your team from a delay game? Obviously, this all falls to Ben, but also understanding the value of the timeout, but the value of the 1 yard line also.
It really all comes down to Ben and our game management guys. Harry Freed does a great job. And so in a situation like that, that's a decision of the head coach that he's going to handle that, weighing the timeout versus the distance that you're going to back up. And so that's really what that comes down to.
Very nice throw. The touchdown, Caleb to Colston, big time.
It's great. It's a really tight window in there. Great anticipation. It's really the look we had been practicing all week. We had seen a shot on film of that hook player not being able to get out underneath it. And so that was kind of how we had coached it. Loveland actually ran a even better route in the game than he did in practice. And so it was good to be able to see him kind of take the corrections from practice and bring it into the game on Sunday. And just a great hookup between those two guys. And obviously a big moment in the game for us.
Declan, what extra dimension does Monangai bring to the running game? And why do you think what have you seen why the Giants have struggled in that phase of the game?
With Kyle is a really physical runner. He does everything we ask of him, and he tries to do it exactly the way we coach it. And so that's the number one thing about Kyle is how coachable he is, how willing he is to kind of work through the corrections and things like that. EB does a great job of staying on him all the time, but really that physicality, that dimension of being able to drop his pads and run through somebody is really what we've enjoyed about having him here. I would say about New York, when you look at their talent level on defense, especially with the front, their record isn't very indicative of the talent level on the other side of the ball there. Burns is leading the league in sacks. He's done a good job. And, Thibodeau and Dexter inside, those guys are guys that provide challenges. But obviously, statistically, they haven't played quite as well as they probably would have liked to.
It's not often you have 4 different players throw a pass in a game, but for Tyson specifically, for Ben to get him involved in that way, what does that just say about how hard he's been working and his involvement?
Yeah, I think anytime you go to a game with any of our players, you'd like for all of them to have a role in the game. Sometimes, a lot of times for Tyson, that's being the backup quarterback and being ready to go in the case that Caleb goes down and he's got to go handle it. But to get multiple guys involved and things like that, um, it's really fun to watch him because you guys don't get to see him play or anything behind the scenes. He does a great job on scout team every week. He does a great job being prepared to go in and play. And so for him to be able to go out and he plays one play and he executes at a high level and it's an explosive, um, just really proud of him. And also it's a guy that when he goes in there, we trust that he's going to get the job done.
Ben has mentioned to us that occasionally he can get a little unpleasant on the headphones. What's that like, and what triggers that?
I don't know if there's anything that triggers it. I think anytime I don't see a different Ben. Some people may talk about that like game day versus when Ben is in between the white lines. He's very serious about what's going on. There's got to be clear lines of communication. For somebody in a normal job, that might sound a little different than how you guys would talk to each other or something like that. But for us, it's very normal. We just want to make sure that we're clear. Everybody is understanding. What needs to get done, and we're just clear about what our expectations are. And so that would be, I think Ben is very clear about that.
So different from another job, as in he can yell at you guys. Is that what it comes down to, or
I don't know if you want
to be emotional?
Yelling if you want. I mean, really, we're communicating, and we're just trying to make sure we're all on the same page, and then our players are on the same page.
There was a clip a few weeks ago where they showed him, it appeared like he was saying into the mic, "Shut the bleep up" to somebody. Is that just like, just business for you guys? That's just matter of fact, okay, I need to be quiet, move on, and
Yeah, we're just rolling there. You laugh. I mean, it's like that might be weird when you look at that, and that's business as usual.
that's the equivalent of in a cubicle just telling the next person, "Hey, do you mind quieting down a little bit?
Yeah.
I'm trying to work."
When you look at, Ben said he was hunting that coverage on the last play of the game. When you see that, you finally get the coverage and the play comes in and works perfectly, you watching Ben as a play caller, what do you learn from those moments?
I think there's a lot to learn in those moments. Really, we had two, end of half, end of game drives there. We had installed a few plays for really that specific coverage that we were looking for. And throughout the end of the first half, we just weren't able to time it up quite right. But really, that is just the persistence of continuing to attack that until they kind of give you what you want, and then being able to go out and execute. It just so happens that it happens with 30 seconds left. We might have called 7 plays up to that point, really with the anticipation of trying to attack that coverage. They finally give it to us, and it becomes an explosive play, and Loveland did a great job of finishing it.
Ben said that with the Giants have possibly the best defensive front that you guys have faced so far this year. With pads coming off this week, how's that going to change the 8-week preparation?
I would say it doesn't change the way we want to prepare. The biggest thing is we need to be able to go out and practice at a high level without pads, and always that's a challenge as you get later into the year. You find out really how mature your team is by how much you can get done during the week, and that's really that is the same goal. You're striking the balance between taking care of our guys, making sure they're ready to go on Sunday, and yet at the same point in time understanding that this is going to be a physical battle that we're going in to handle. And so it really is a mentality of how we're practicing more than anything.
What makes Burns so dangerous, and how does the attention that Lawrence commands change the opportunities that he gets?
I think Burns plays at a high effort level. I think he's just a really talented. He's a talented pass rusher. He's slippery, and when you talk about Lawrence, obviously he's a really big human in there inside. He eats up a lot of blocks and tries to free things for their linebackers to go make plays. Both of them are good players. They're both going to provide unique challenges.
What was your message to the group when you first got together and went over the Cincinnati game?
Yeah, message to the group is, hey guys, obviously that's not our best brand of football, and I take responsibility for it. Is what I told the group. Obviously they look in the mirror and take responsibility for what they do, but I tell them, I take responsibility for it, and it's got to be better. But guess what, guys? We found a way to win. We found a way to win several different ways this year. And going forward, if we want to be the team that we want to be, we got to get those things cleaned up.
You said you take responsibility. Are there changes that have to be made, or was this just a bad game?
No, I mean, I think for sure it was a bad game. I mean, I think everyone can see that. But it's my unit. I always take responsibility for it. So I've always done that, and I'm always going to do that.
And do there have to be changes? Like, there have to be adjustments?
Yeah, there were
There have to play better.
there were adjustments that need to be made, but that's coaches and players, right? It's never just on the coaches, and it's never just on the players. We're a team, and we act as a team. We work as a team. We fight for one another as a team to the very last play, and that's been evident throughout. So we made adjustments. You want to talk about some adjustments? We made some adjustments to the kickoff coverage after the play that we never want to see happen, but it did happen. So the resolve in the group was outstanding in the second half, and we need to build off of that.
What does Hardy need to be aware of on the onside kick when he's engaged there and kind of ball goes and hits his foot?
Yeah. So what the rule for those guys that are fronting on the blocking on the front line is they need to go right now. If you look at Noah on that play, he did exactly what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to go right now, block his guy, and get out the way. If you hesitate, if you go inside, if you linger, then you're at risk for the ball to touch you and make the ball live. So we just need to execute our responsibility with no hesitation. Don't blink. Go right now, block our guy, get out of harm's way, and let Rome make the decision right there.
If you go right now, there's no way the ball's going to get you.
Correct. Go back and look at that play and look at Noah and look exactly what he did, and then look at what the guy you mentioned did.
What's the,
Well, first of all, in the kickoff coverage, to start the play, the kick location is not where we wanted it. Okay, so that's number one, and I'm telling you exactly what I told the players. So the kick location is not where we want it, and the lane integrity is not what we are used to doing and what we want to do. So lane integrity was out of whack, and that's what happened on the play. And when any time lane integrity is out of whack and you got a big seam in there, that could happen with this new play. It could happen at any time.
With the onside kick, how do you coach reading whether that ball is even gonna go 10 yards? What's the strategy on that?
Yeah, for who?
I guess it would be Rome in an ideal.
Yeah, so Rome's got to make a decision. We got the first right away to the ball. If they touch it, it's illegal. The kicking team does before it goes 10. So Rome's got to decide if that ball is not going 10 yards, then he doesn't touch it at all. He'll just stay there. All right. If it's approaching 10 and he has the yardage, which we coach, people coach that different. So to give the yardage, we have the yardage when we go get the ball, and we have the right of way. But to Pat's point, how can he go and make that decision? He can make that decision if those other guys are out of there. So now it's clean for him, right, to make his decision.
Go.
Correct. Yep.
Richard, was there any commonality between the blocked field goal and the 47-yard that was missed on both of those?
No commonality on those two. Obviously, they were offsides on the miss, and that turned into 7 points for us, which was outstanding. The operation was not clean on the miss, so you guys go back and look at that. But snap, hold, kick, none of that was clean. So the operation was not clean on that one. We were fortunate there. On the block kick, we didn't have C-gap presence. So you need presence in the C-gap. Everybody's got to be tied together, locked together there, so there's no penetration. And the longer the kick is, right, you never want any penetration, okay? But the closer you are to the field goal and to the goal line and to the goal post, all right, the more likelihood you're going to have a better trajectory. So if you have any leakage, you would prefer that to be when you're closer in the red zone. The further you get away, the trajectory of the kick is going to go down in most cases, not all cases, all right? So if you have any penetration there, you're at risk for a block kick. You're at risk.
Would Joe,
Bring you guys?
Well, I mean, we'll see if we get him back. You know, I know. I'm hopeful. I'll just say that because I don't make any interpretations until the decision is final and made.
Ryan said he's gonna be on the 53 this week.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. But what he brings,
What does he bring?
if he's available, what it brings to us is a leader, a veteran presence, the number one productive special teams player we had in our room last year. We missed him dearly. okay? But it's next man up, okay? So if we do get him, that will be phenomenal. And nobody in that room, all right, wants to get it corrected more than the players, all right? And we are going to work night and day to get it all cleaned up. I can promise you that. I will bust my ass, and they will too, all right, to get it cleaned up.
Can Joe have a role on special teams? I know he just got here and he played a little bit in Cleveland. Do you envision him having a role?
Yeah, I envision Joe having a role. Joe's blocked punts in this league before. Joe has great speed. He is a force to be reckoned with. We're happy that we got him acquired here and we have him. And I'm looking forward to working with him. He's been positive in all the meetings and he's got a fresh start. So we'll see what he can bring to the table.
What have you seen in the ways that the Giants have involved Jalen Hyatt with their kickoff return?
Yeah, I seen him in the back end. All right, speed guy, fast. You know, he's haven't had a lot of experience doing it, but I see a really dynamic player with the ball in his hands. And Gunner's really good too. The other guy, he's 7th in the league, and return average, he's outstanding. I mean, the Giants have a really good unit, so it'll be a good challenge for us this week.
I know the big one got called back on Sunday, but how have you seen Duve attacking those lanes, and do you feel like he's really added to the kickoff game, something you didn't have last season?
Yeah, I like Duve. Duve has done a phenomenal job, and it's just unfortunate for Duve, but that was a penalty. Okay, anytime there's restriction at a point and a guy's trying to spin out, and you don't move your feet and you don't play with technique and fundamentals, then the flag is going to be thrown. And it's my job obviously to get them to do that. But that was a heck of a play by Duve, and he's had 2 back-to-back plays of 50 yards or more, explosive plays in back-to-back weeks. And that's what I told the group. Guys, if we can clean up the penalties, you guys can make a big play on kick return almost every week. Every week. That's got to be your mindset. But we got to play clean and we got to play penalty free. Because if you don't play penalty free, then you're just giving them yards back.
Did it feel like the unit was really missing Roshan on Sunday?
The unit, Roshan is a unbelievable player in person. I don't want to make excuses for what happened. I don't do that. But if we want to talk about the player Roshan, he is a outstanding piece to have. And if you have him, you always gonna have a better chance. But it's next man up, whoever's on the field. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And that's what everybody's got to understand is when you get an opportunity, if we have a guy like a Roshan out or an Amon out or a Blackwell out or a Homer, if you have all of those guys out, then this is my opportunity to step up and prove to the coaching staff and prove to myself that I belong on the field, and I'm gonna be a Travis Homer or an Amon or one of those type of guys, and you get limited opportunities to make that happen. And what I want to do is make sure we are continuing to coach the hell out of them. We get the execution down, and that those guys take advantage of their opportunities so that they can get more opportunities on offense and defense. That's what it's about. And we just got to keep finding ways to win. Don't matter how we win, we're not going to apologize for winning. We're going to clean up our mistakes and our issues, and we expect to make plays going forward because we got all of these games outside, and special teams is going to factor. It's going to be a huge factor, so we got to clean it up. And that's the message to the guys.
Last one, are you anticipating a win game?
Challenge perhaps on Sunday.
I anticipate it always being a challenge. Yeah, every time, even out here at practice today. Good. All right, thank you all. Have a great day.
Thank you.